Dear listeners, a new day and a new story to discuss. Today, I'm going to tell you a story that interests me. Listen and write down what you think about this situation. I'm interested in your opinions. I still remember the day like it was yesterday, though I'm now 31. That moment in 2014 when I was just 26 feels like it's permanently etched into my memory. Alex, my ex, was 23 at the time. I had just hung up my military boots, ending a 4-year chapter that had shaped me in ways I couldn't have imagined. Our story, however, started 3 years earlier, right after I returned home, craving nothing more than the comfort of familiar faces and the freedom I'd missed. Back then, Alex was working as a dog trainer. It wasn't exactly lucrative, but she was passionate about it, juggling various odd jobs to make ends meet. Our paths crossed during one of my leaves, and amidst the laughter and shared dreams, we found ourselves tangled in the web of a long-distance relationship. I've got this crazy idea. I remember telling her over a cup of coffee at our favorite diner. The sun was setting, casting an orange glow over her face, highlighting the determination in her eyes. "What's that?" she asked, her curiosity piqued as she leaned in closer. "I was thinking about us. What if I help pay for your rent? It could be our little base, a place for us whenever I'm back." Her eyes widened in surprise, a smile slowly spreading across her face. "Are you serious? That would be amazing. But why? Why would you do that for me?" "Because," I paused, searching for the right words. "Because I believe in us. And I want to take care of you, make things a little easier." It wasn't just about financial support. It was my commitment, a promise sealed with every dollar I sent her way. Our relationship blossomed, and amidst the chaos of my military life, I found solace in the thought of coming home to her. I became more than just a boyfriend. I was a partner, contributing to our future together. Our conversations during those times were filled with dreams and plans. "When you're finally out of the military, we should get married," she'd say, her voice filled with hope. "I wouldn't want it any other way," I'd respond. The idea of spending my life with her felt like the most natural thing in the world. I took pride in my traditional mindset, believing in taking care of those I loved. So, I didn't just stop at paying half of her rent. I also started chipping in for her car payments. It was a gesture, my way of saying, "I'm here for you, no matter what." Our parents weren't wealthy, but that never mattered to us. Alex was particularly close to her family, often visiting them in the countryside. It was during one of these visits that she opened up about her life, her dreams, and the challenges she faced. "You know, it's not easy, juggling everything," she confessed one evening as we sat under the stars, the tranquility of the countryside enveloping us. "But having you, knowing you're there for me, it makes everything worth it." Her family was a tight-knit bunch, a younger sister and 2 younger brothers who looked up to her. I admired that about her, the way she balanced her life, always making time for those she loved. After my service ended, as a token of my appreciation and love, I bought her a $7,000 engagement ring. It was more than just a piece of jewelry. It was a symbol of our journey, a testament to the patience and faithfulness she'd shown. "Do you like it?" I asked nervously as I opened the small velvet box, revealing the ring that had taken me months to choose. Her hands flew to her mouth, tears glistening in her eyes. I love it. I can't believe you did this for me." It was a moment of pure joy, a promise of a future we were both eagerly looking forward to. Little did I know, that future would soon start to crumble, revealing a reality far different from the one I had envisioned. Moving in with Alex after my military discharge felt like the start of a new chapter, the beginning of the life I had dreamt about during those long, lonely nights away from home. But the reality that greeted me was starkly different from my expectations, marked by a series of unsettling discoveries that gradually chipped away at the trust and love I had for her. It started subtly, with Alex's phone becoming an extension of her hand, her attention forever tethered to the glowing screen. I tried to brush off the nagging feeling in my gut, attributing it to the adjustment period we were both going through. However, the frequency of her trips to her family's place, coupled with the mysterious way she guarded her phone, began to raise red flags I could no longer ignore. One evening, as we sat down for dinner, the silence between us was palpable, a stark contrast to the laughter and conversation that used to fill our meals. "Is everything okay? You've been quiet lately," I ventured, hoping to bridge the growing distance between us. She glanced up, her fork paused midair. "Yeah, everything's fine. Just tired, you know." But it wasn't fine. The next clue came when I needed a ride to work because Alex had taken the car, the very car I had helped pay for, leaving me stranded. "Why do you need the car so much these days?" I asked one morning, my frustration seeping into my voice. I'm literally having to hitch rides to work. She sighed, avoiding my gaze. I have things to do, places to be. You know how it is. No, I don't know how it is, I pressed. Why can't you just tell me where you're going? Why all the secrecy? The conversation ended there, with Alex muttering something about trust and space. But it wasn't just the car or her phone that bothered me. It was her reluctance to let me into her world, her life with her family, which she guarded like a fortress. One day, driven by a mix of curiosity and suspicion, I followed her. Not in a creepy way, but more out of a desperate need to understand what was happening. I watched from a distance as she parked the car at her family's house and then, after a brief stay, drove off to a location I didn't recognize. My heart pounded as I realized this wasn't just about needing space. There was something or someone she was hiding from me. The confrontation that followed was inevitable. Where were you today? I asked, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside me. Why? Her defensive tone was a red flag on its own. Do I need to report my every move to you now? When it feels like you're living a double life? Yeah, you do. The words burst out of me before I could stop them. I saw you, Alex. You went somewhere after visiting your family. Where? The silence that followed was deafening. Alex's face was a mask of shock and anger, a clear sign that I had crossed an invisible line. You're spying on me now? Is that what we've come to? Her voice was cold, the warmth I had fallen in love with nowhere to be found. I just want the truth, Alex. Is that too much to ask for? My plea was desperate, a last-ditch effort to salvage the remnants of our relationship. The truth, however, remained elusive, buried beneath layers of lies and half-truths that Alex wasn't ready to unveil. That night, as I lay in bed, the distance between us felt insurmountable, a chasm that had widened into an abyss. The woman I thought I knew, the woman I had planned a future with, was becoming a stranger before my eyes. Thanksgiving was supposed to be a time of togetherness, a holiday that brought families closer and mended frayed edges of relationships with warmth and gratitude. It was with this hope that I approached the celebration at Alex's family home, a picturesque farmhouse nestled in the heart of the countryside. The drive there was quiet, a tension-filled journey that left us both lost in our thoughts, with the only sound being the occasional hum of the car engine. As we pulled into the driveway, the sight of the warmly lit windows and the smell of roasting turkey promised a respite from our recent troubles. This will be good for us, I muttered more to myself than to Alex, seeking some reassurance. She offered a tight smile, her eyes fixed on the house that held so many of her childhood memories. I hope so, she replied, her voice laced with a nervousness I couldn't quite place. The welcome we received was nothing short of heartwarming. Her family, a lively bunch with open arms and wide smiles, enveloped us in an atmosphere of genuine affection. It felt like stepping into a different world, one where the strains of our relationship could be momentarily forgotten. Dinner was a feast, with laughter and stories passed around the table like cherished heirlooms. I found myself drawn to the simplicity and love that filled the room, a stark contrast to the complexity and secrecy that had come to define my relationship with Alex. As plates were cleared and the family settled into a comfortable post-dinner lull, her younger brother, Tim, suggested a walk. Want to see the old treehouse we used to play in? He asked, his youthful enthusiasm infectious. Sure, I responded, grateful for the distraction. Alex hesitated, casting a worried glance in my direction before nodding her approval. The crisp evening air was refreshing, and as we walked, Tim regaled me with tales of their childhood adventures. The treehouse, a sturdy structure hidden amongst the branches of a massive oak, was a testament to simpler times. It was there, amidst the remnants of childhood innocence, that the first revelation hit me. As Tim spoke, a name slipped out, a name I hadn't heard before. Jake used to hang out with us here too. Alex and him were inseparable back then. Jake. I echoed, the name sending a jolt through me. It was the first piece of a puzzle I didn't even know I was assembling. Yeah, Jake. You know, her ex. They were a thing in high school, Tim said, oblivious to the bombshell he had just dropped. The rest of the evening passed in a blur. My mind was racing, trying to connect the dots between the Jake from Tim's stories and the Alex I thought I knew. The unease that had been simmering beneath the surface was now boiling over, threatening to spill out and scald everything in its path. Later, as the family gathered in the living room, sharing stories and basking in the glow of the fireplace, I found myself feeling more isolated than ever. Alex, sensing my distress, pulled me aside. Is everything okay? She asked, her concern evident. I just need to know, who is Jake? The question hung between us, heavy and charged with implications. Her reaction was immediate, a mix of surprise and panic. "Why are you asking about Jake?" she stammered, her eyes darting around the room as if looking for an escape. "Your brother mentioned him. Said you two were close," I pressed, needing answers she wasn't ready to give. Alex took a deep breath, her demeanor shifting as she chose her words carefully. "Jake is a friend. We grew up together. That's all." But it wasn't all. The evening ended with more questions than answers, and as I lay in the guest room, the walls adorned with remnants of Alex's childhood, I couldn't shake the feeling that there was a significant piece of her life that she was keeping from me. The revelation of Jake's existence, coupled with her evasive responses, painted a picture of a past and possibly a present that I was not a part of. The trust that had once been the foundation of our relationship was now crumbling under the weight of secrets and lies, leaving me to wonder what else I didn't know about the woman I loved. The days following Thanksgiving were steeped in an uneasy quiet, a prelude to the storm that was brewing on the horizon. Each passing moment was a tick on the clock of our unraveling relationship, the silence between Alex and me growing louder than any argument we'd ever had. The revelations about Jake had planted seeds of doubt that sprouted into towering walls of suspicion, casting long shadows over our once bright future. I tried to push past it, to find some semblance of normalcy, but the questions gnawed at me, relentless in their pursuit of truth. One chilly evening, as we sat on opposite ends of the couch, wrapped in our own thoughts, I broke the silence. "Alex, we need to talk about Jake," I said, my voice steady but firm. She stiffened, her eyes not meeting mine. "I told you, Jake is just an old friend. Why can't you let this go?" "Because there's more to it, isn't there?" My voice rose, fueled by frustration and hurt. "Tim mentioned him, and the way you've been acting. It's like I don't even know you anymore." Alex sighed, a deep, weary sound. "What do you want me to say? That Jake and I were close? We were, but that's in the past." "But is it really in the past, Alex?" I pressed, desperate for honesty. "I can't shake the feeling that there's something you're not telling me." The conversation spiraled from there, our words a volley of accusations and defenses, each exchange driving a deeper wedge between us. It was clear that trust, once the cornerstone of our relationship, had eroded, leaving a chasm too wide to bridge with mere apologies. In a last-ditch effort to uncover the truth, I made a decision that would forever alter the course of our lives. "I need to know," I whispered to myself, the weight of my resolve settling heavy on my shoulders. The next morning, while Alex was out on one of her now frequent and unexplained trips, I installed a GPS tracker in her car. It was a breach of privacy, a violation of the trust one was seeking to restore, but the desperation to understand, to find some shred of the truth in the tangled web of lies, pushed me beyond the bounds of morality. Days passed, each one a testament to the growing distance between us, until the week of Christmas arrived, cloaked in the false cheer of holiday lights and festive songs that felt hollow against the backdrop of our crumbling relationship. "I'll be spending Christmas with my family this year," I lied, the words tasting bitter on my tongue. Alex nodded, her expression unreadable. "Okay, I'll probably visit my parents then," she replied, her voice devoid of the warmth that once filled our conversations. The night she left, I sat alone in the dark, the glow of the GPS tracker my only company. My heart pounded as I watched the little blip move across the screen, tracing her journey to her parents' house, and then, hours later, to a destination that made my blood run cold. Armed with the address, I drove through the night, each mile bringing me closer to a revelation I wasn't sure I was ready to face. The car parked outside an unfamiliar house confirmed my worst fears. The reality of Alex's betrayal laid bare under the soft glow of Christmas lights. Confronting her wasn't a choice. It was a necessity, a painful step towards closing a chapter that had once promised a lifetime of love and happiness. The confrontation was explosive, a clash of emotions that laid bare the depth of our deceit and the irrevocable damage it had caused. "Is he still just an old friend, Alex?" I demanded, the evidence of her betrayal a tangible presence between us. Her face crumpled, the facade crumbling as the truth finally emerged. "I'm sorry," she whispered, the words a mere shadow of the apology needed to mend the broken pieces of our relationship. But sorry wasn't enough. Not anymore. The unraveling of our love story wasn't just about the lies and the secrets. It was about the realization that the person I loved, the person I had planned a future with, was a stranger to me. As I drove home that night, the silence was a stark contrast to the turmoil inside me. The road stretched out, a metaphor for the journey ahead, one that I would have to navigate alone, the ghost of our failed relationship, a constant companion in the passenger seat of the car we once shared. The aftermath of the Christmas confrontation was a wasteland of broken promises and shattered dreams. The drive home was a blur, my mind a tumultuous sea of anger, betrayal, and heartache. Every mile widened the gap between who I thought Alex was and the person she had revealed herself to be. The silence of the night was a stark contrast to the chaos within, a relentless storm that refused to calm. The following days were a testament to the depth of our fracture. Alex's presence in our home became like that of a ghost, her form there, but the essence of what made her long gone. The tension was palpable, a thick fog that suffocated every attempt at conversation. One cold morning, as the frost painted patterns on the windows, I broke the silence that had become our constant companion. "We need to talk about what happened," I said, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. Alex looked up, her eyes hollow, the vibrant spark they once held now dimmed. "What's there to talk about? You've made your feelings perfectly clear." "It's not just about how I feel," I countered, my frustration simmering just below the surface. "It's about us, what we had, and where we go from here." A bitter laugh escaped her lips. "Where we go from here? There's no us anymore, not after everything that's happened." The conversation spiraled from there, a dance of accusations and deflections that left us both drained. It was clear that the trust and love that once bound us together had eroded, leaving behind a chasm too vast to bridge. In a moment of desperation, I demanded the return of the engagement ring, a symbol of a future that would never come to be. "That ring was a promise, Alex. A promise you broke the moment you decided to betray everything we had." Her response was a mixture of defiance and sorrow. "I can't give you back the ring. It meant something to me, once. It's all I have left of us. But it's not yours to keep, not after everything," I insisted, my voice rising with every word. "It represents a lie, a future built on deception." The standoff continued, neither willing to concede, the ring a tangible reminder of the love that had turned to ash. It was during this tumultuous period that Alex made a decision that would further cement the end of our shared journey. Without a word, without a goodbye, she left. I returned home one evening to find her belongings gone, the apartment a hollow shell of the life we had built together. The lock on the door was broken, a testament to her determination to erase her presence from my life. In the silence of the empty apartment, the reality of our end settled in like a winter chill, cold and unyielding. The woman I had loved, the person I had envisioned spending my life with, had become a stranger, her actions a final nail in the coffin of our relationship. The fallout from our breakup was a poison that seeped into every corner of my life, a constant reminder of the love lost and the betrayal that had replaced it. The ring, once a symbol of our commitment, had become a token of our downfall, a physical representation of the trust and love that had been irrevocably shattered. As I sat alone in the apartment we once shared, the weight of our failed relationship pressing down on me, I realized that the fallout was not just about the end of us. It was about the journey of healing and moving forward, a path I would have to walk alone, the ghost of what we had a constant shadow at my side. In the wake of our tumultuous breakup, the world seemed to stand still. The empty apartment was a constant reminder of the void left by Alex's departure, each corner filled with memories of a love that had turned to dust. Yet, amid the ruins of our relationship, a determined resolve began to take root within me. The journey forward was mine to make, a path fraught with the debris of betrayal but also lined with the possibility of renewal. One crisp morning, as the dawn painted the sky with hues of hope, I made a decision. It was time to reclaim my life, to build something new from the ashes of the old. "You can do this," I whispered to myself, a mantra to steel my resolve. The first step was the hardest, stepping outside the apartment, leaving behind the sanctuary that had become my prison. The world outside seemed different, as if I was seeing it for the first time through eyes weary from grief but eager for change. I began to fill my days with activities that once brought me joy, rediscovering parts of myself that had been lost in the tumult of our relationship. It was during one of these pursuits, a photography class I had joined on a whim, that I met someone. Her name was Emily, and she was like a breath of fresh air, her laughter a melody that soothed the jagged edges of my broken heart. We connected over shared interests, long walks in the park, and conversations that stretched into the early hours of the morning. She was different, her spirit unburdened by the shadows that had become my constant companions. One evening, as we sat overlooking the city, the lights below us a mirror to the stars above, I opened up about my past, about Alex in the pain of betrayal. Emily listened, her hand in mine, a silent support as I navigated the treacherous waters of my memories. It sounds like you've been through a lot, she said softly, her voice a balm to my aching soul. But you're here. You're moving forward. That's what matters. Her words were simple, yet they carried the weight of wisdom, a reminder that the path forward was not defined by the past, but by the steps we take towards the future. I'm trying, I admitted, the vulnerability in my voice a testament to the trust one was beginning to place in her. It's not easy, but I know I can't let the past dictate my future. Emily squeezed my hand, her smile a promise of understanding. You're not alone, she assured me. I'm here, and together, we can face whatever comes our way. The road to healing was long and winding, marked by moments of doubt and instances of unexpected joy. With Emily by my side, I began to see the possibility of a future unmarred by the pain of betrayal, a life built on the foundations of trust and mutual respect. Our relationship grew, each day a step further from the shadows of my past and closer to the light of a new beginning. The memories of Alex and the fallout of our breakup became distant echoes, lessons learned rather than chains that bound me to the past. As I stood on the brink of this new chapter, the dawn of a future once thought impossible, I realized that moving forward wasn't about forgetting the past. It was about embracing the lessons learned, the strength gained from adversity, and the promise of love rediscovered in the aftermath of heartbreak. The journey forward was mine to make, a path illuminated by the possibility of new beginnings and the enduring hope that, even in the darkest of times, there is light to be found, love to be discovered, and a life to be lived, free from the shadows of the past.